The indictment to CBS News New York, but it remains sealed, so it's unclear what charges Adams will face. It does make him the first sitting mayor in New York City history to be indicted.
Tonight we have live pictures outside City Hall there on the left and Gracie Mansion on the right. Relatively quiet at the moment, but a different scene expected in the coming days in both venues when the mayor will have to enter a plea to the charges.
We have team coverage here for you tonight at 11. Political reporter Marcia Kramer has been working the story all night. Let's begin with Allie Bauman live outside Gracie Mansion tonight. Allie, what's the scene there?
Well, Christina Maurice, in a taped video message sent through his attorney tonight, Mayor Adams is maintaining his innocence, though he doesn't specify what exactly he's being charged with. Adams said that he's been fighting injustices throughout his life and vowed to fight what he calls these injustices with every ounce of his strength and spirit.
It is now my belief that the federal government intends to charge me with crimes. If so, these charges will be entirely false, based on lies.
In a video statement Wednesday night, Mayor Eric Adams says he will fight back against the federal criminal charges.
I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you, that I would be a target, and a target I became.
Over the last few months, federal investigators have raided the homes and seized electronics from the mayor and many in his inner circle.
And just so you guys know, the FBI is running this investigation. They've done multiple search warrants on him. You can see here, look, November 2nd, 2023, taking his devices, etc.
Investigators have raided the homes and seized electronics from the mayor and many in his inner circle, including former NYPD Commissioner Edward Caban, who stepped down earlier this month.
So there's a traffic jam of investigations, subpoenas, searches, devices being seen. But this is the first thing we've seen that will actually result, we are told, in a charge being brought forth tomorrow.
Earlier Wednesday, Congresswoman Alex.
So the grand jury probably passed the true bill of indictment yesterday, guys. And that's why he knows that there was an arrest warrant probably filed on his behalf. Because as soon as the indictment is dropped or there's a true bill, it gets filed with the clerk and an arrest warrant is filed for his arrest.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez became the most prominent Democrat to call for the mayor to resign, posting on social media, "The flood of resignations and vacancies are threatening government function. For the good of the city, he should resign." Adams shot back, penning in part for anyone who self-righteously claims people charged with serious crimes should not be in jail to now say that the second black mayor of New York should resign because of rumors and innuendo is the height of hypocrisy. Wednesday, the outgoing school's chancellor insisted his decision to retire in the middle of the academic year this December was made before federal agents raided his home, which the 62-year-old shares with fiancée First Deputy Mayor Sheena Wright and the home of his brother, Deputy Mayor for Public Safety Philip Banks.
David is my brother, and the Banks family are my family. I valued Phil, who rose to the...
And just so you guys know, he got indicted basically for taking money from the Turkish government. We'll go into more detail on this. This was an FBI case, chat. FBI. You guys are probably wondering why the FBI. So, guys, there's certain crimes that the FBI does exclusively, okay? There's three that I could think of off the top of my head. Number one is terrorism. That's their number one problematic area and focus. Number two is public corruption, which obviously when we're talking about mayors, dirty cops, etc. And then third is espionage. These are the top three cases that the FBI does and prioritizes. And then bank robberies as well. But bank robberies is more because it's a legacy crime that they've done forever. So yeah. But this investigation stems from accepting money from the Turkish government, which is kind of funny because a lot of our politicians accept money from another foreign government, if you guys know what I mean.
Level of being the highest ranking person in charge of the police department, patrol force.
And tonight, the mayor is getting ahead of what's becoming a growing list of calls for his resignation, saying in the statement that he can understand why New Yorkers would be concerned that he can't continue to do the job while facing these accusations, but saying, quote, "New Yorkers elected me to lead this city, so, quote, lead it, I will." Live outside Gracie Mansion on the Upper East Side, Allie Bauman, CBS News, New York.
All right, Ali, thank you.
And we're joined now by political reporter Marcia Kramer. A whole lot to go through here, Marcia. The angry, defiant mayor tonight. We looked at him there requesting an immediate trial. That's a stunning thing to do. What's going on there?
I think that,
well, he can request a speedy trial, but you know, he's gonna have to. Him and his lawyer are gonna have to put that in. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm interested to see if they're gonna give him bond. I think they're gonna give him bond, right? So it's actually not in his best interest to do a speedy trial, but we'll see what happens. This is actually interesting.
Did he absolutely
Okay. We got here Damian Rochester. Hey, brother, thank you for the knowledge about hair transplant. I'm nearly 2 months being back from Turkey. Would you recommend getting Invisalign teeth for a bit crooked? I'm 34. How's the process? Yeah, go ahead and get it, bro. It's going to cost you a couple thousand, but fuck it, man. Getting your teeth and your hair on point is worth it, my friend. It'll increase your SMV.
believes that he did nothing wrong, and you heard in his statement that he's going to fight this with every ounce of his strength and his spirit, and I think that he intends to try to prove that he did nothing wrong. The real question is, what are the charges and who else may be involved, and what are they charged with as well?
You know, Maurice and I interviewed the mayor back in November during a live broadcast, and I asked him point blank if he felt he was being targeted. He gave a political correct answer, but tonight he alluded to something else in that video statement. He believes he is being targeted. Well,
he believes, according to that statement, he believes that he was targeted by the Justice Department after he publicly attacked the immigration policies of the Biden administration. And I think that you can understand that some New Yorkers may believe.
Well, at least he did that, because immigration is through the woozah right now, guys.
That what he says is true, because he did take a very strident stance against the president's immigration policies at a time when the president was running for re-election and really cared about that. And it was sort of interesting that the raid that was done on the home of his chief fundraiser, Breonna Suggs, was on the very morning that he was in Washington at the White House for a conference on immigration, and he had to turn around and come back. There's a nexus there.
He really feels he can beat this. Does that appear to be a real thing? I mean, like you said, an everyday person may look at this and say, look.
Well, I'll tell you guys this. He got indicted by the Southern District of New York, if I'm not mistaken. They don't normally lose, so this is going to be an uphill battle for him. And normally when they're going after powerful people like this especially, they cross their T's and dot their I's, guys. They're not going to just indict a sitting mayor unless they're 100% sure that they can get him. Today's sponsor is Be Naked. After 30, your testosterone drops by 2% every year. Yeah, that's right. While you're out here scrolling TikTok, your masculinity is packing his bags. But you don't have to be that guy. Step up with Naked Organs. This ain't no soy boy supplement. This is straight up 100% bison organs, liver, kidney, heart. The stuff men have been using for centuries to stay sharp, strong, and keep their testosterone sky high. Forget your vegan pea protein, quinoa, or whatever weak sauce they're pushing. This is Primal Power, packed with B12, iron, and zinc. Real nutrients that your body needs to stay jacked and ready to dominate. Go to BeNaked.com, use code FRESH, and get 15% off. Keep your masculinity in check, guys. Code word FRESH. BeNaked.com, use code FRESH for 15% off. And like I said before, FBI, Southern District of New York, extremely aggressive in Manhattan. And they have a 90+% win rate. That's the same district that actually indicted Diddy. So, you know, same AUSA's office that indicted Diddy. So they're doing crazy work this year, bro. Crazy work. They got Casanova. They got 6ix9ine. They got La Cosa Nostra in the 80s. Rudy Giuliani did that. Eric Adams, Diddy. They're putting a lot of work, man. Southern District of New York.
He feels he fought immigration policies, and now he's being persecuted. He really feels he has a case.
Well, here's the thing. Public corruption charges and cases are very difficult to prove. And even in cases where there's been convictions, like Joe Percoco, who was a top aide to Governor Cuomo, they are overturned. So he does feel he has a chance. And remember, if he fights it and he gets an immediate trial, I mean, I don't know how immediate it can be. Federal government takes a long time. But if he does, he might be able to even beat it, and he could conceivably run for re-election. Hard to believe, but he could.
You've been covering politics in this city for
a long time.
Just a minute. A minute or two, Marcia. historically speaking, have you ever seen anything like this happen so quickly? I mean, the former commissioner resigns 2 days after the acting commissioner is in office. His home is also raided. So many dominoes falling so quickly.
Well, remember that this probe actually began last November, so it's 10 months. So it's not as if it was just a minute. It just seems like it's very big because all of a sudden a whole bunch of things happened. They served more subpoenas this summer. They then sought subpoenas from some of his top aides. What it says is that they have developed information as they started to branch out from this probe, and that's caused them to seek more information. And that's why they were seeking the phones and documents from people going forward.
Widening the net.
All right, the politics, so much going on here. What does your gut tell you? What's going to happen next?
Well, I think that's what's going to happen is two things. Number one, there's going to be an avalanche of calls for him to resign.
There are tonight.
And then you have to see whether he agrees. But then there's another thing that has to happen. The governor of the state of New York does have the ability to remove him from office. It remains to be seen whether she does or whether she lets him have his day in court. But there's going to be pressure on her as well to remove him from office. We have to wait to see what happens. Because remember this, he needs to fill out the rest of his government. A lot of people have resigned. How is he going to get people to take these jobs if he's under a cloud?
And how does the city continue to run under this kind of situation?
Well,
right?
He has an argument to that. He says, I've been investigated since November. Crime is down, jobs are up, tourism is up. I got a record. That's his answer.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with that for now. To be continued for sure. Marcia, thank you.
Marcia, thank you for that insight. Let's continue our coverage now with Hofstra University law professor James Sample. Professor, we don't know what these charges are just yet. The indictment remains sealed. But do you think that they must be pretty serious if you're going to charge a sitting mayor of New York City?
Christine, I do think that is likely the case. And I think that what we know about the Southern District of New York and federal prosecutors in general.
Let's see if he says exactly what I just said a second ago. Mind you, guys, I didn't watch this video before. I like to watch the videos when I'm with you guys to get a real reaction. Let's see what he says about the Southern District of New York.
General is that they are not likely to bring a case against a prominent figure unless they really feel that they've got the entire thing buttoned up very tightly. We don't know. They're essentially part of the complex.
And he's a law professor at Hofstra. Guys, do I fucking miss or not? The feds is not the same, bro. The feds are not the same as the state, guys. All right? They're just not. So, and the reason why I'm able to talk about this stuff so confidently is because guess what? I've fucking arrested people before federally. I've worked with AUSAs. I've done hundreds of cases. I've actually done this shit. Unlike these commentators that talk on these shows, I've done it. So there is no one, and I can say this with utmost certainty, right? Not to sound cocky or anything like that, but sometimes you got to talk your shit. There is no one on the internet that knows more about federal investigations and how they're conducted than I fucking do. I know how every agency works. I know how the legal system works in the federal system. I know what all the different types of affidavits. I've written almost every type of affidavit you could think about, whether it's a Title III, which is real-time listening to phones, to search warrants, trap and traces, ping warrants, cell site, search warrants for social medias, preservations order. I've done it fucking all, man. So the reason why I'm able to explain the things the way that I do off the top of my head, by the way, is because I've actually done this shit. So, and I really do enjoy being able to teach you guys. I saw a lot of flame emojis earlier when I said, hey, did you learn something new? And if you did, give me a fire emoji. It really makes me happy to show that I can add some value back and give you guys some stuff and give you guys some insight that other people can't necessarily do. So again, for all my ninjas watching, if you're a brokey, guys, don't forget, if you're a brokey, just type in brokey. Guys, let's get these guys some subs here. Help them out so they can watch this without ads on Twitch. We are going to transition at some point over to Twitch. We're going to move the Rumble, YouTube, Twitter. We're going to move all over to Twitch, as you guys know. We're going all in on Twitch right now, going hard as fuck, obviously, and Castle Club, right? So we're going to be on Twitch and Castle Club. So let's go ahead and keep the stream going.
complexity here is that there are 4 separate investigations. The 3 primary investigations and the 3 likely sources of the charges, or one of the 3, this seems like the most likely and the one that's being reported as, according to the insiders who seem to have sources on this, that this is tied to likely Mayor Adams acting as an unregistered foreign agent, and particularly vis-a-vis his relationship with members of the Turkish government and Turkish nationals funneling campaign contributions to him in exchange for some official action. But as Marcia said, corruption charges.
And there's a big one because there was a Turkish, basically like a building, like a Turkish building that they wanted to erect that Mayor Adams allegedly kind of pushed through at the advice of not doing so quickly with the fire department. He basically pushed some paper through to get things done expedited. And, they might look at that as a misuse of authority, et cetera. He also got some flights via Turkish Air, first class, fully comped, all that other shit. So that's, I think, the angle. We don't know for sure yet because we don't have the indictment, but these are the rumors right now.
Are very, very difficult to prove. And even on appeal, as she said, where there have been some convictions, it is difficult to establish that the official act, the quid pro quo that was taken in response to even foreign donations, is one that can be categorized as corrupt as opposed to politics as usual. This will be an interesting matter for sure.
Professor, before we let you go, what are the mechanics of what happens next? The indictment is unsealed. Then what happens to the mayor? Does he go into a courtroom? Does he face a judge? What happens?
The indictment is likely to be unsealed tomorrow. It appears that Mayor Adams will probably negotiate
which means today, by the way.
Surrender. That may be tomorrow. It may be early next week. If he's ultimately in a position where he has to resign, then Jumaane Williams, the public advocate, would take over, and Williams would have to call for a special election, which would be 80 days within the 80 days after Williams called for it.
And then there's another election that's already scheduled for next year. That would take place as well.
Correct.
Okay, exactly how many mayors we would have at the same time, it's almost unclear.
One step at a time.
Exactly.
One step at a time.
Professor, thank you so much. We appreciate it tonight.